Hi, and welcome to Minivan Camper Building with Leslie. How's it going? Have you ever wondered exactly how much money you can plan on spending when you're out there on the road? I did too. I obsessed over it actually. And I was worried that we wouldn't have budgeted enough or we wouldn't be disciplined enough to keep the party going and live as cheaply as possible but still be comfortable. Just so many questions. So what we decided to do was right after the van was built to a point where we could actually camp in it, we took it out for a short trial. And by short, I mean about 2 weeks, more or less. The goal, of course, was to go live in the camper full time while we rent out the house to earn enough rental income to pay our bills and support our lifestyle traveling on the road. So this was a test run. Now, that being said, we were total newbies without any real road knowledge, without any real concept of how we were going to be operating because we weren't in a groove yet. We just forged ahead and we tried to do our very best. So this is a breakdown. I sat down once we got back from our initial 2-week introductory camping trip, and I sat down and I wrote as close as I could to every penny that we spent. Yes, you know me. I really got in there and I looked at details. So this is as close as I could get to just about every penny that we spent on our first trip. Ready to check it out? Let's go. On our very first day of van life, we started out with an idea of where we had wanted to stay, but we didn't make any reservations at any campgrounds anywhere. We were just going to play it by ear. We wanted maximum flexibility. And we had never stayed at a truck stop or rest area before, so we really weren't prepared to undertake that just yet. We topped off the tank, which cost us about $33, and we headed in the direction of the campsite we figured we would stay at that night. On the way, some stupid issue came up. We just had to pull over, make some phone calls, and get it handled. This took a little while, but once it was resolved, we were ready to go. Except now it was just pouring rain. Florida, summertime. The thunderstorms were nuts. We thought we would camp in some RV park somewhere. As we got closer to it, we realized it was just a dumpy RV park. And we had never camped in the camper van before, and it's pouring rain and thunderstorms. We thought we should just take some of the pressure off, keep driving in the direction that we wanted to go, and find a hotel room for that night. I know, not very adventurous, but that's what we did. We incurred the expense of staying in the hotel, yes, and then we also incurred a little expense of going out and getting something to eat and a glass of wine. The day after that, driving was great. We moved in the direction of where we wanted to go, but still we had no reservations or no plan about exactly where we would stay. So in a desperate search for Wi-Fi, we pulled into a McDonald's parking lot, borrowed their Wi-Fi, and started looking for available spots. The big problem with this was it was the weekend. We had no reservations, and we completely underestimated how busy campsites would be on the weekends. Big rookie mistake. We managed to find a spot in a campground which catered to mountain bikers. And so it was up in the hills of Georgia, and it was a beautiful spot, just amazing. They could squeeze us in, which worked out great. However, this place was expensive, and I mean by campsite standards, even by RV park standards, it was expensive. But it was really the only place we could find a last minute spot on the weekend, and we were happy to take it. From there, once we passed over the weekend, it got a lot easier to find campgrounds. Those campgrounds really can range in price depending on if you're staying at a state park, a national park, some private campground. There are so many different ways to go with campsites. Now, we do have an advantage because Michael, the hubby, he qualifies for senior discounts, so that really helps. But the range of prices that we spent on campsites over this approximately 2-week period, the campsites ranged from about $40 a night to $10 a night. And we did a lot of driving on this trip. So even if it wasn't technically a travel day where we were going from one campsite to the next, the days that we did spend in the same campsite, we hopped in the van and went sightseeing. We went to some nearby parks to do some hiking or canoeing. So we also did a lot of driving, even if we weren't actually traveling to a new spot. This really helped add to the gas expense. We put gas in the tank every single day on this trip, and that ranged from as low as about $15 to as high as about $52. Now, I want to mention gas mileage as well, because that's one reason we chose to convert a minivan. Our van, transformed into a camper, is getting between 20 and 26 miles a gallon. We do have a lot of highway miles, so that helps. And it also helps that we managed to take out all of the extra seats that we're not using when the van is a camper. So that cuts down on a lot of weight. As we continued traveling through the week, we were able to find much more affordable campgrounds. But as it turned out, once we got to the weekend again, we had just decided, let's get one hotel room for a Saturday night. It's just easier, and we can make that an extra long travel day, since we can roll into a hotel late at night and we don't have to figure out some brand new campground. Regarding groceries, we cooked mainly our own meals. And when I say we, of course, I mean Michael. The hubby is the cook in the family. But we got some good quality groceries, and we were able to make most of our own meals. So I'm not sure how that compares to eating at home, but here's the breakdown on food, including all meals that we ate out as well. As far as miscellaneous items, yes, these expenses covered things like sunscreen, bug repellent, vitamins and supplements that we would pick up along the way. At one point, we also stopped off for an oil change and the occasional latte or cappuccino that we would pick up somewhere as well. This also included anything like entry into a state park for day use, any kind of costs we incurred for hiking, any kind of canoe rental, those kinds of things were also included in the miscellaneous. So for 18 total days of travel, our gas expenses worked out to be $552.69. For lodging, it worked out to be a total of $616.91. Ouch, that's a lot. Those hotels really add up. For our food and grocery expenses, including some eating out as well, that broke down to be $319.63. And in the miscellaneous column, that was a total of $236.36. The total expenses for our 18-day trip worked out to be $1,725.59. If you divide that up between the number of days, it works out to be $90.82 per day. So, what did we learn? Well, we learned a lot, obviously. We learned minimize the hotel stays. And you can do that by being better prepared. Now, what we do is we actually make reservations in advance for campsites in areas we want to stay in. In the cases where we don't make reservations, we'll try to find something. And if we can't, now we're very comfortable spending the night at either a truck stop or a rest area if we have to. Regarding the gas expenses, we didn't use it at the time, but now we use a rewards app which gives us a discount of anywhere from 5 to 15 cents per gallon, and that adds up to a little bit when you're at home driving like a normal person. But when you spend this much on gas over the course of an 18-day period, that really adds up. Regarding the miscellaneous, that hasn't changed much. We still spend money on park fees for day use. If we want to go hiking or canoeing or kayaking somewhere, we're still going to incur those expenses. And of course, the oil change, that's a non-negotiable. So although we spent a lot more money than we should have, it was our first trip out. We learned a lot, and we still had a great experience. The biggest difference now is that we just don't spend as much money. But that's what it's all about, getting out there and learning things and fine-tuning so you can really enjoy your time out there traveling. I hope this was a good lesson on what not to do. And it was great hanging out with you. I'll see you next time.